Coming up on the Inspired podcast.
I play life like a game, right? I've gamified it. I'm 45, I feel 20, because I love learning. And that's why I say people should get hobbies so you're learning. You're not just at the beach thinking about work.
Welcome to the Inspired podcast by Gentech.
Hi, my name's Nick Jones and welcome to the Inspired Podcast. I'm loving making this podcast as it is my chance to sit down with people that inspire me. Today is the second part of my chat with Geoff Jowett. Geoff is a fascinating guy, and if you haven't already had the chance to listen to episode 1, it was great to hear about Geoff's background and some of the challenges that he's gone through and how he successfully overcame them. The Inspired podcast is all about finding those little pearls of wisdom to help inspire us to be better people. To get things rolling again, I asked Geoff what are some key tips he tells people if they want to be happy and successful.
I say to people, stack the deck. This year, stack the deck. You got to stack the deck. You can stack the deck if you know what makes you better, and you won't stack the deck if you do things that make you worse. People, places, choices, habits, lifestyle, decisions. You got to go to what makes you better. Now, might not make someone else better, but it doesn't matter because you're not them. It's got to make you better, and then you stay on your path. And if you stay on your path congruent to your values and whatnot, but first of all, you got to know what they are, and that was my problem at Body Gym. I didn't have a fucking clue what they were, so I was spinning like a top. But when you work out roughly what you like I like animals, I love riding horses. I discovered them at 40. I was a late bloomer to say the least, but doesn't help when you're drinking for Australia either, so you're probably not going to stumble across the man from Snowy River at that point. But on that aside, now I know what my path is, so I just stay on my path. And if it's like going bushwalking, if you're on a bushwalking trail, well, stands to reason you're only going to meet people on that trail, on that path in the bush, because you're on a narrow path. So that's a bit like life, and you get clear on what your path is and you go narrow and deep. Well, you only meet people on that path and your life builds in a good way. But if you dive off into the shrubs, well, you meet all sorts of things out there, don't you? And once you're out in the bushes, it's very hard to get back on the path. And that's what a lot of people do, because they look over the fence and look at other people. Oh, that looks good, that looks good, that looks good. And next minute, where's the path? I don't even know what my path is. I'm lost. And that was me many times. So working out what your path is and staying on the path is a huge part of long-range, long-term success, not diving out into the bushes, having a look around out there at what's rustling around, and then you end up on another path which is not yours, and life is just brutal at that point.
Someone that is in the depths of depression, as you were, and I've been there, and so many people are, they're living with anxiety about the future, and they don't know what their path is. You got to work it out. What's the first step for people that go, I don't even know what I like anymore?
Well, I'd reach out to someone that they know and ask them what they did. So, if they know anyone else who's struggled and they're seemingly going okay now, ask them, what did you do? One of my sayings is, don't know, who does? Don't know what to do, who does? So I say that to my clients all the time. And now they do that, versus I don't know. I'm like, well, who does? So the key to entrepreneurship, success, happiness in life is don't know who does. I don't know what's around the corner sitting here, but if we walk around, we'll know. So we've got to get round the corner to know if there's a tree around the corner or a car or whatever. So a lot of people sit there and they go, I just don't know what's around the corner. But don't worry about that. We just got to move. So don't know, who does? That's a big one. Find someone who's done really well or happy at least.
You're just such a rarity for so many reasons, and I mean that in the best possible way. How many people do you really come across daily that are truly happy?
Mate, bugger all. That's why I sort of keep to myself. A lot of people, though, you'll find that society's just fucked us, because the markers for success and how you define yourself are rubbish. So you throw all that shit in the bin and you're half a chance. I broke away from every bullshit construct that society's rammed down our throats since school. The whole thing's fucked. It ruined me and it ruined so many people. You got to keep up with the Joneses, pardon the pun.
Yes.
And you're a hard bloke to keep up with, mate. You look like John Cena, physique like a Greek god, mate. It's too hard. I've got a head like a bustard, so I can't keep up with that. You can polish it. You can't polish a turd, but you can roll it in glitter. There's not enough glitter, mate, for my head, Jonesy, next to yours. I'm kidding myself. It's a bashed up Ford versus a McLaren P1. So you just got to know.
That's why I'm friends with you, mate. That's why I talk to you daily, because
it's true, folks. A good-looking rooster. Don't worry about that. But the reality is we've been hammered with what we should and shouldn't do. Expectations. Everyone's expectations are what hold us back and keep us down. And the good news is when you're in the fetal position on the floor by yourself and your phone's like a hockey puck because it doesn't ring, you realise that it's up to me. If it's meant to be, it's up to me. So I stopped worrying about society's expectations, my family's expectations, bugger that. What's going to make me happy? And one of the things that I say to people is, what am I really good at and what do I really love doing? Now, if you're in the pits of depression, you probably don't know and you probably think you're shit at everything. I thought I could barely tie my shoes at that point. Don't worry, that's normal as well.
And hang on, and this is a guy that's built a company that was turning over 40 million from scratch. And you felt like that,
Oh,
Geoff.
mate, terrible. I thought I had a stroke. My brain didn't work. I couldn't think. I was no confidence, no anything. I was wrecked, buckled. It hammers you. Like it's like PTSD when the wheels fall off. So if you feel like that, mate, I know. So, but if you stay the course, it all comes back and more, and what? Not just all comes back, way better, way million times better, smarter, happier, clarity, perspective, balance in your life, and all of those things. I was doubting myself at every turn, every day, everywhere. It was a mess. Like I didn't think I could get a job at Woolies. Stacking the shelves, I thought I'd fuck that up. Like I literally thought I may as well neck myself because everything I touch I fuck up. I just ruin the world. I'm the worst person. Like it's just dark. It's not, you just hammer yourself. When you go down in the hole, you just can't see anything. It's brutal. But over time, you start to get perspective. You start defining yourself differently by doing good in the world, not just trying to make money for yourself and whatnot. You start adding value to people's lives. You start to feel better about yourself. So the more value I added in the world to people's lives, I started to feel better about myself, started to get some purpose and meaning through contribution and fulfillment and whatnot. And it slowly, like the hockey stick, it built slowly over time. And then down the road, it got a lot better. But really, for people like that, what am I really good at and what do I really love doing? And that's a great thing to over time to ask yourself. But getting away from what you're meant to do, expected to do, should do, like all these people who tell you they're not fucking happy. Like I would sign me up for the blueprint if everyone was happy.
Yep.
Like sign me up, I'll follow, cut, copy, paste, boilerplate, life template, count me in, boom, boom, if that was everybody's blissfully happy. But Ask 10 people and I guarantee 9 will be like, oh, mate, I'm stressed, busy, mate, busy, mate, bloody hard, mate, hard. Like, I'd be all over the blueprint if the data stacked up. I'm all about data, evidence-based. It just doesn't stack up. And like most people, if you ask them, they're either stressed because they don't have enough work or stressed because they've got too much work. And then 1 week a year, it's good. Or 1 day a year, no, it's just good, mate, good, but not enough, too much, not enough, bloody hell, we've got to be where we are. If you don't have enough work, enjoy that. You can actually, it's called life, you can go and do a few things, and when you're really busy, you rip in, and then when it's a bit quieter, you rip into life, and then work, and getting good in that rhythm. Like I coach a lot of real estate agents and a few stockbrokers and all people that are very sort of, it's spasmodic, the work. It's on and there's not as much, but they've learnt to flow with it because, and not be attached to the outcome. I say process, not outcome. When you focus on the process, you get results. When you focus on the outcome, you get overwhelmed. So getting a real process focus and trusting it, let go to grow, not attached to an outcome that you can't control. It's an external variable that just caves your head in, makes you not present so you fuck up where you are versus letting go of it. And then you're better where you are and good things happen. It's energy. Like I believe that. I think we can, as weird as it sounds, we can kind of bend or warp our reality based on our headspace and our emotional state, which is our vibrational frequency. And then different things seem to come into our life. And I've been playing around with this for the last 3 years with clients. And a few of them call it magic because the result is different. It's different what happens next based on your energy and how you react to things. But if you react and get triggered, eat a hand grenade, get the shits, more bad stuff. I got clients, they panic if they stay in that state because they know bad things are coming. So they reset their head. Don't keep ploughing when you're in your head because you'll just create more crap. you'll run into more dickheads. It's like when you leave the house in a shit mood, you bump into people in a shit mood. It's not a coincidence, it's energy. Like Nikola Tesla said that we live essentially in an electromagnetic field and we're energy, and we do. So it doesn't, just because we can't see it, we can only see visible light on the spectrum's like 0.05% or something. There's a lot more to it than we can actually see with the human eye. But doesn't mean it doesn't exist, doesn't mean it's not real. This energy thing is a massive thing, and that's what I coach and live more than anything. My energetic state is the number one variable factor focus for me that everything else flows out of. If that's good, everything's good. Knowing what my performance threshold is so that and I know how many hours I can work, then rest and recharge. I structure my day accordingly. I start at 5 a.m, work till 11, break till 2 or 3, then work till 5 or 6. I have a big break in the middle of the day, ride the horses, and then I go again. So the client at 5 p.m. talking about his or her business gets the same standard of Geoff and thinking as the 6 or 7 a.m. client, not a half-assed job, I'm wrecked at the end of the day. That's not acceptable to me. That's how I define success, being optimal each time and having those rest periods to be able to do so.
I mean, you've come so far down the track. You're just evolving and evolving and evolving, almost at light speed. Again, that evolution seems to be compounding. You're introducing corporate people, that your clients that live the way you used to live, to the way of thinking now, and to the frequency of energy, and it is measurable now. We can't see it. It's quantum physics, and there's a lot on it, and it is measurable.
I'm Geoff Jowett. You're listening to the Inspired Podcast.
You've got daily practices that you do to be optimal, to raise your energy, to keep in that higher frequency, because you know how important that is. So this is a long way from depression. We're a long way down the track from depression, but that daily campaign, and it is a campaign. I can see it's a campaign. I know personally it's a campaign, but you will get curveballs still, right? So even no matter how good you get at this stuff, do you blow a gasket now and then?
Not much anymore. I know when I'm tired, if I bump into a dickhead, like in the carport or something, and whatever, that get your dogs on a lead or whatever, and I'm tired. I'll go, what? I'll blow up. Like that was a year or two ago. Like if someone's just random, just has a crack at you for something, then. But it's tired. I know when I'm vulnerable, right? So tired. So now I play life like a game, right? I've gamified it. All right, so it's like a big video game to me. We're all going to die, folks. That's the reality, and we've got to stop living in fear. The world is paralysed by fear, and I just don't have fear. I'm not scared of dying anymore. I'm not scared of any of the stuff that unfortunately paralyses the human condition, society en masse. And my life is wonderful. It's magical because of that. We're not meant to be as humans in a fear state 24/7, but most of us are, and it's a tragedy that I see out there in the world every day, especially in this current climate and landscape. And so for me, I now, like yesterday, the car had a flat tyre, a screw in it. The old me, the old Geoff Jowett, go back a few years, I'd be like, you're fucking kidding. Sunday morning, off to the hook, you're kidding. You're kidding, there's a screw in it. You are, some idiot left. I'd have the best story in the world about this. I'd be filthy.
Yep. And how many days?
Oh, no, not days, but a few hours. Okay. I'd be filthy, and but I'd create another problem, you see, because when I'm filthy, you create more problems, and then you're just mopping up the mess for days.
Yep.
Because you never get triggered once, and it's only one. Then you do a few other messes. So
because your energy's at that frequency.
Yeah, and everything gives you the shit. So you do a few more others on the way, and then a few days later, you got a few messes to mop up, right? Never one. It's never one. And that's why I go back with people when they do something. I go, right, let's go back a week. What happened there? To find what I call the cause event, if you will, that then the subsequent train smash ensued. So going back to what that was. And so yesterday this happened, and I get in the car and I go to drive out, and it goes blah, 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 which is obviously the flat. I'm like, I've got a flat tyre. What? No. Blah, blah, I do. Anyway, there it was, and I thought, all right, here we go. And literally I went, well, no, that's interesting. And I wasn't like straight away, yes, this is amazing. It wasn't, no. I'm not off my head. But I was able, no, you know what I did? I went, I'm going to get a coffee. That's what I did. I went, no, because my car's got a little resin pack compressor thing, not a spare. So I thought, righto, this will be... I now see everything as an opportunity. Like, I get excited about problem solving. I've learnt that I like solving problems, but mine are a lot better problems now. I don't need hand grenades and solve the mess that I've created every time. My problems, I've got champagne problems now, I say to people, and so should they, with the work the info I give them. But so I went and got a coffee. I thought it's a bit early. It was like 5:30. I hadn't had a coffee. I thought, let's get a coffee into me and I'll come back and read the manual. Right, what do we got to do here? And I got it out of the boot and the cords and whatnot. This is quite interesting. And you got the resin and you put it into the compressor and I'm like, you don't have to take the wheel off. Okay, you put that in there. And I'm like, this will be good. And I was excited. After 10 minutes, I'm like, this will be good. I want to see how this works. Anyway, you put the thing into the valve and off it goes and dead set, good as gold. I'm like, how good's this? Like, I went from being, I got a flat tire to how good's this? I'm learning. I love learning.
We will get back to Geoff's amazing take on life after this message from our sponsors. I'm Nick Jones and you're listening to Inspired.
Boost your energy and workout intensity using Gentech Nutrition's premium quality pre-workout and amino acid products. Use code INSPIRED10 and save 10% off your favourite products at gentech.com.au. That's GEN-TEC.com.au.
Welcome back to the Inspired Podcast by Gentech Nutrition. Geoff Jowett's attitude to life is now truly inspiring.
I'm 45, I feel 20, because I love learning. And that's why I say people should get hobbies so you're learning. You're not just at the beach thinking about work. Because really, if you're at the beach thinking about work, by default, you're at work getting a tan, cooking your head. Yep. That's what most people do. So that learning to ride horses, not easy. I was shit, which is great because it made me learn. And that's the other thing. Like, if you have to be good at everything, you won't learn anything because we're always shit at the start. I was very shit, and now I'm less shit, and I do my thing, and it's just great. I do it for the love and everything about it. It makes me better. They give me so much, these horses. And but I'm shit, and I'm less shit now. It's great. Like, that's it. But with whether it's, working out how to use the compressor resin pack on the thing in the boot and learning things, everything's a chance to learn. Like, and if you're learning, you're growing, you're staying young, and life is not boring. It's not repetitive because there's something to learn every day. Like, I read all the time now. I never used to read. I stopped reading and learning because I thought I knew it all. I knew nothing back then, and now, like, life is fun and exciting. I've gamified it. I know that energy's a thing. I focus on getting in that energetic state, but it's not a chore now because if I'm addicted to anything, it's like optimal brain function. And I said to clients a week or two ago, I said, you know what, I've actually stacked the deck because I wake up, I do work at home, dogs around me all the time. I get in the car, I go to horses, rejuvenate, energy, horses. Then I work in the car doing Zooms and phone calls to clients in the afternoon. So I'm in a peak energetic state all the time. No wonder life's good. Turns out I'm an introvert when I'm not pissed, so I don't do a lot of socialising, and I just love that. And I'm social to people, but, going out to dinners and whatnot, I'd rather root canal because... it just bores the shit out of me, and I just don't want people dribbling on the piss when I'm not interested, asking me how am I going every 10 minutes, what's been happening. Yeah. Well, and I told them 10 minutes ago, but they've subsequently forgot because they're on the sauce. And you do that a few times. If anyone's ever done that when they're not on the drink, it's like, oh, where's the bloody trapdoor? Get me out of here, so to speak. Yeah. So, I stop people pleasing as well. Do you want to do that? No, thanks, mate. I'm just going to do this. Have a great time. No people pleasing. People pleasing is the emotional energy vampire. I say to people, you've got 100 energy credits in a day. Who gets them? If you have breakfast with a victim at 7 a.m, you've just wasted 90. 0. You'll be on minus 50. You'll eat a hand grenade because you've got no fuel in the tank. So don't be front row at the victim show. Don't go to pity parties. Don't turn up to those. And you're going to have more energy all the time. Energetically, you're going to be a lot better. You'll attract better, do better, create better, think better. And then your life just gets way, way better. But it's all these little choices. And I got addicted. I think it's not really addicted, but I love that optimal brain function being on and knowing how to get on and what I've got to do. And it's not repetition and routine. I hated it. Now I love it. And I think the dogs, the best breakthroughs I had were from the animals because the dogs, they love routine. Like they love routine. They love structure. Horses and dogs love routine and structure. And, I just got fascinated by their little their lives and how they behave and their personalities, and there's this whole world there that most people miss on their phone being so important down at the fucking park instead of walking their dog. I want to throw the phone in and them into the harbour every time, because how about you play with your dog? I'm the only person down at Darling Point every day. I'm the only person that I've ever seen in 6 years every day with 2 balls and a stick playing with their dog. I reckon, folks, you can give your phone a miss for 20 minutes. Just radical concept. The world ain't going to stop spinning. Wow. Now, I get my clients to do that, and it catapults their business, happiness, success, because their head gets a rest. The problem is we've got too much data. I say to people, you need less data. You've got too much data. Stop binging podcasts and learn to turn off your head. You know enough. You're just not executing it. You're just not being effective. If anyone who went to Sizzler back in the day, all you can eat buffet when you're full as a state school, you can't eat anymore, right? You just
that
can't.
Many times.
Right, that's like podcasts. Your head needs a rest. Yes. You've eaten everything at Sizzler. You can't get anything more in. No more podcasts. I limit clients to 1 podcast a week. You know, they might have a few more, but not like 1 a day, not 2 a day, 3 a day. For God's sake, people are just like addicted to, they're just, I've got 5 minutes podcast. Well, no, how about nothing?
Yep.
Let's stillness.
Podcast or social media.
Yeah.
Social media.
Both. Well, that's even worse. Yeah, that is dead set the destroyer of worlds, that thing. Comparison's a thief of joy, and social media is the destroyer of worlds. Like, it just is rubbish. Life's what's around you happening now, not on a screen. It's not on a screen, life. It's around you right now, in this moment, around you, not on a screen, through a screen, on a TV. It's not. It's around you. And I realise that. That's reality, what's happening. And there's magic and joy and peace and everything in that if we can get back to it. So, of course, I use social media, but I'm not used by it. I use technology. I'm not used by it. I'm not a slave to it. I'm not controlled by it. And that's the distinction, the marked difference in my life now versus then, and the comparison piece. And, you know, podcasts are great. I jump on a few, and they're great podcasts like yours and a few others that I do. But, you know, if you did a few a week and you listen to those key ones, folks, that's good. But, you know, in real estate, the latest way to do a listing, there's no latest way, because houses are the same. Humans live in houses, and occasionally they buy and sell houses. There's nothing different. Like, you know, we've just got to get away from all this bullshit and smoke and mirrors and hype and get back to the basics and execute the basics. The people who build the massive success, there's no unicorns. It's the execution of the basics to the highest standard every day, repeated consistently over time. That's how you build massive success, not this one panacea to the unicorn business that explodes and it's rubbish, bullshit. It's not real. Like, the trouble is most of this stuff's not real. I've actually done it. That's how I know. Like, the reason I guess a lot of my clients are incredibly successful, they all say, mate, I wouldn't hire anyone. You've done it. You've done it. You've been over the hill. You know what's there. You're not guessing. It's not out of a book. You've lived it. You've done it, good and bad. You know, none of my stuff's guessing. And that's, again, my sweet spot. I didn't plan to be a coach, speaker, consultant. But if you look back on it now, it's like, talk about hand in glove. Like, it all needed to happen for me to do this now, which is infinitely more powerful than anything I've ever done, because I've actually lived it. The good and the bad, the highs and the lows, and all that jazz, and the values there for people to not make the same mistakes. And I say grow your business, love your life. But really, you know, getting good at simplifying this stuff and getting out of comparison and changing your definition of success and your self-image and all these things. You work on this stuff and you can have a life beyond your wildest dreams.
Can you give the listeners your top 3, whether it's being present, eliminating comparison, top 3 things to do daily to live your best life, to change your trajectory, to change your thought process, to serve yourself, and to then be able to serve others and have purpose and be happy? 3 things, top things, basics.
Well, the first one, I'd just say, no one's as good as they look, but we're all much better than we think. So don't put success on a pedestal. It doesn't deserve to be there. If you've ever met anybody who's wildly successful and you meet them, you're like, oh, they're not that impressive. Correct, they're not. They're a human being. They put their pants on one leg at a time, like we all do, right? It's all the same. Success does not deserve to be on a pedestal. It's bullshit. You're capable, far more capable than you think. So no one's as good as they look. We're all much better than we think. If you're really serious about making big changes in your life, I'd say have 2 months off the sauce and just really sharpen the sword. And the other thing I'd say is really look at the people in your life. Are they making you better or worse? Are they building you up or dragging you down? Because when you go on to make big changes in your life or any change in your life, sometimes others don't like it because it puts the spotlight on them. It's like when an overweight person loses heaps of weight, their fat friends say, don't lose any more weight. You look sick. Are you okay? Don't get sick. Are you sick? What's wrong? They're just, a bit jealous. They don't want to get left behind. Now they're the fatty in the group, not you. Like, that's the reality of it, right? So you got to understand the human condition. It doesn't make them bad or anything bad people. It's just the human condition. So look at the people in your life. Where are you spending your time? If you hang out at the barber shop every day, sooner or later you'll get a haircut. So where are you hanging out? Because that's going to happen. The people, the places, the things that you do. This is the stuff that matters. These are the things that aren't obvious, right? Because it's do the stuff that they can't see for the results they can. Everyone looks good in public. What's going on in private, right? What's going on when no one's watching? That's the shit that matters. And in closing, you're always playing to an audience of one. That's when I built myself, my real self-esteem, confidence in myself, and really started to like myself, void of ego, believed in myself because I knew who I was, I knew what I did, I knew how I lived when no one was watching. And I think that is the real game changer for people. That people with big ego, it's low self-esteem because to an audience of one, it's not that good. When it's good to an audience of one, your life will be phenomenal.
Let me ask you one question, Jeffro, that I'm going to ask everyone. What does being inspired mean to you?
I think being inspired's changed a lot for me. I get inspired more by nature now than I do commercial success. It's really interesting. It's a very, very good question. I used to look at people doing big things in business and life and Tiger Woods and sports people and whatnot. It's great. I don't know if it inspires me anymore. It used to drive me, fuel me. But I get more inspired by life. I spend time with the horses a lot, not just my own, but all the others that are there. And these moments, I get inspired by, life, this human experience, if you will. I think that inspires me. Because having done business for so long, that's kind of the easy part. So when people do well in it, it's great. I'm happy for them, but it doesn't necessarily inspire me. But, back in the day, I was trying to rule the world and be king of the world, and now I just want to love my time in the world. So what inspires me is very different now. I'm not interested in any of that. I'm not saying it's bad or wrong. It's just not for me. I just want to love my time here in the world, having this human experience, not, be constantly striving and trying to break the records and whatnot. So my definition of being inspired is very different to what it once was. So the simple things, not the man-made things or the man-made conquests, if you will. The simple things are what really touch me and move me and inspire me these days.
Jeffro, mate, thank you for your time. I feel blessed to call you a friend.
Likewise.
Thank you for your wisdom. For episode number 1 of Inspired, there was nobody on the planet I would have picked over having you. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for your love. I appreciate it more than you know. Check out our show notes to find out more about Geoff or visit him via Instagram, GeoffJowett. The Inspired Podcast is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or the Gentech Nutrition website. If you're enjoying Inspired, please rate and review us. I'm Nick Jones, and thanks for listening to Inspired by Gentech Nutrition.
Next time on the Inspired Podcast.
Probably the worst father-son relationship you could have. My memory of it is like a poster of a man like in Midnight Express. He didn't deal with things in a way that I would have liked, because I don't need to prove to my father or to myself to be a better person.
Build maximum muscle mass using Gentech Nutrition's premium quality creatine and amino acids. Use code INSPIRED10 and save 10% off your favourite products at gentech.com.au. That's GEN-TEC.com.au.
This podcast has been produced by eatals.com.au. That's www.eatales.com.au.